Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Beamer, owner-operator of ExpertlyDyed Art by Science, and this is the daily vlog, episode number 64. And today I'm going to be talking about some wool that I got at a recent wool festival. So last weekend, April 6th and 7th, I was at the Sodbury Yarn Over, which is in a little town that's not too far from my house, in a place called Sodbury. And they have this really adorable medieval town high street where they've got a wool shop called the Wool Cellar, and that is owned by a lady named Jo. And her and a friend, Deb, decided that they wanted to put on a wool festival in an area that didn't actually have a whole lot going on in terms of wool festivals. And since it was famous for being a wool town, like a lot of Britain, they wanted to have a festival to sort of celebrate that heritage and also bring new shoppers to see what was available in the high street. So it was really exciting to be able to be part of this experience. It was a little bit stressful at first because I had to rent a car. I've never rented a car before. And I guess it's one of those things, first time for everything. And after some initial hiccups, I finally got there, got everything set up. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you got to see sort of how I had my table set up. And one of the things about going to these shows as a vendor is I kind of don't really have a lot of display materials yet, like I used to, but obviously moving to Korea and then to the UK and only having recently started doing these events again, I don't really have much in the way of display materials. So I wasn't sure how I was going to prop everything up, and actually I have a lot of variety of things, so I wanted to kind of put out a smorgasbord of different things so that people who are more knitters could see all the yarn, people who are more spinners could see all of the wool, and I did have a few finished items and things like handspun and whatever, so it was a bit tricky getting all set up, but I thought I did a pretty good job. So yeah, it was done over 2 days, and I got to see some of the other wool vendors that I met previously at the Cotswold Wool Festival. Last year in April, during the bank holiday weekend, sort of the end of April into early May, I did the Cotswold Wool Weekend, which was really great. It was really close to my house, and I had a friend in Swindon who helpfully packaged up all of my stuff and took my inventory to the location so that I could present all of my wares, which is very, very nice. I think I probably could have gotten a taxi to help, but it was nice having someone fiber related helping me. But it was sort of difficult, like trying to arrange more festivals without a car and without the ability to drive. And I thought it'd be a really big ask to see if anyone could take me and my inventory somewhere, or hiring a taxi would have been really expensive. So I've kind of had to leave it for a little bit, but now that I've passed my driving test, yay, I'm hopefully going to be able to do more of these events in the future. So if you are sort of local-ish to the Cotswolds, one of the things I am looking to do more of are these shows because I like to talk about stuff. Speaking of talking about stuff, as I said, I met some people at the Cotswold Wool Weekend that I had the opportunity to see again. So I'm going to sort of talk really briefly about the organizers, Jo and Deb, and some of the stalls I remember having conversations with in the during the Cotswold Wool Weekend. So this first clip here is Jo's shop called the Wool Cellar, and it is located right next to the town hall. I didn't get a chance to go in, but if you are around, then I will leave a link to her website. Deb is the other co-organizer for the Sodbury Yarn Over, and it turns out that on Pinterest she's got these really lovely scarves that I have been sort of ogling for the last year and a bit, or at least a year and a bit, because I really like the colors that she uses. They're very similar to the ones that I'm also drawn to. So when I saw her scarves at the festival, I was like, oh, I feel like I've seen these before. And it turns out that I have on Pinterest. So I will link to her shop below. For those of you who sort of see the things that I post out there, you'll probably see the relationship in color palettes. But they were both really on target with coordinating everything. It was a very streamlined experience, especially for first-time organizers. You know, you often don't know what you're doing. And so you kind of draw on the experiences of others. You kind of know your base because you've already been doing some crafting before, but sort of nailing each of those points and sort of negotiating every crafter vendor's needs and all that stuff. It's a lot to handle, and I think they did a good job, and I hope they keep doing this in the future, especially for locals like me, because as long as I remain local and they have it available, they can consider me as one of the vendors. So yeah. If you haven't heard of these two shops, please take a look at them below. So some of the other shops that I went to, so we've got Speckle and Stripe, this lovely duo, and I really like their colors because they're not necessarily what I would personally dye, but I would definitely use them for accessories. Like, I love those speckle-dyed yarns for things like shawls and socks, which I wear a lot of, actually. I could probably even justify buying a few to make another cardigan like this. This is the flyaway cardigan. I know I've talked about it a bunch on Instagram. I love it. I've made 2 of them so far, and I would love to make another one. But yeah, just I think their yarns look really, really stunning in accessory knits for me personally. And so here I've got like a little video of me squishing some of their stuff in their shop. The other shop that I talked to the owner a lot is Dilution, and when we were at the Cotswold Wool Festival, that was actually her very first experience doing a wool show, which, you know, when you're new into everything, I appreciate it. Sort of like, I don't know what I'm doing, are people gonna be nice, you know? I feel like I'm walking into someone's space who's like really well established, and sort of like negotiating all that stuff can be a little bit extra stressful. But from all of the experiences that I had last year, everyone was really nice, everyone got along very well. We kind of need to help each other in the crafting space because the whole idea is to grow the community. And so it's really beneficial to help each other, and I was pleased to see her doing so well. She's got even some talks about silk and dyeing, so that's really cool for her. Just a side note, and especially to Deb, I'm very sorry that the video quality didn't quite turn out exactly like I wanted. I think there was just some weird lighting at that point in the day, so it doesn't actually convey the range of colors that she's got, and anything dyed on silk immediately looks gorgeous. So I will leave a link to both Deb and Speckle and Stripe in the comments, or in the description box below. So the last place I wanted to talk about was Fernhill Fibre, because this is where I managed to snag a really sweet goodie, and it comes in its own bag. I got a chance to see all these lovely fleeces from Fernhill Farm, and the owner is named Jen. Just gotta get on, right? So it's a name thing. And what I loved about her fleeces, she runs conservation breeds, so they are usually those breeds that aren't necessarily produced or raised in such large quantities for meat or their fleeces, but they're still quality animals that can produce quality fleeces, and they're doing the job of consuming the grasses on lands that have historical significance. So she leaves them out to basically cut the grass, and they sort of get frisky, to put it in a very PG way. So what she ends up having are some really interesting crossbreeds, and I think a lot of them are Shetland origin. But she's also got Blue-Faced Leicester and Wensleydale, and I think she said she's got some Romneys in there. So one of the things that I have been exploring more are crossbreeds. So I know I've got my Fibre Talk episodes that I like to talk more about a specific breed and the bloodlines and the types of fibers that come from those animals, and what it was like to process it, spin it, what I think it might be useful for in terms of garments and whatever. But crossbreeds is something I really want to talk about in the future, and hopefully now that I've gotten a few of them, I'll be able to come up with a video where I talk specifically about a couple of different crossbreeds and kind of give my opinions on what I think those strengths are with the different crosses. But this one is a Shetland Wensleydale cross, and I've got another one that's got Blue-Faced Leicester with Shetland, and they're both beautiful but for different reasons, and the video will not really give justice to these locks, but they've got a really long staple. They're very shiny, but they're also really soft, and they've got kind of like that Wensleydale silkiness. So yeah, like really great crimp structure, long length, and the fleece itself is very reminiscent of some of the other Shetlands I've got. So yeah, I'm very excited to start working with this fleece, and it's a pretty hefty one. I don't actually know if she wrote on here how much it weighs. Oh, it's 1 kilogram. That's a large kilogram. but it's already been well skirted. I haven't even taken it out of the bag to kind of see what it looks like. But yeah, I'm going to be taking some photos and posting that on my Patreon and sort of updating that audience first about the progress on this. Because like I said, I definitely want to cover some crossbreeds in a future Fibre Talk episode. In an endeavor to try and get these daily vlogs out slightly more frequently, I'm going to be using them more like they're supposed to be, like daily, instead of once every 6 months or something. It can be quite challenging, and part of the reason is I'm just really drained from my main job, which is full-time, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult because it's a manual labor position, and at the end of the work week I don't have any energy. But what I'm trying to do is keep daily vlogs more around the 10-15 minute mark, and I will be talking about sort of whatever it is that I'm currently working on. So it could be just a review of the festival I've just attended, it could be talking about some fibre I've just bought, it could be talking about even some of the new bats I've made, because I've got lots of wool that I need to kind of work through now. That I sold a fair number of bats, so I've got to plump up my inventory again. So yeah, so hopefully I will be able to put out more of these. I've already done 64 vlogs. This is episode number 64. But it's also been done over, what, 10 years or something? So yeah, I want to get back to doing them somewhat more frequently. Maybe I'll endeavor to do maybe once a week. Just a quick thing on the weekend, get it edited, posted, that sort of thing. We'll see how it goes. And if you have any other ideas of stuff that I can talk about during these vlogs, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. But yeah, so we're gonna make 2024 great, putting out these kinds of videos, because sometimes, like, if I try to just work on a long video, it takes so long, and then I feel like I'm not being creative enough and just talking about the stuff that excites me. So I think just being able to ramble a little bit once a week or thereabouts will kind of help me keep the ball rolling, so that when I do those larger tutorials or those more comprehensive reviews, that I feel like I'm not just popping up out of nowhere. I also wanted to do a quick little promo. I have been posting at least one thing new for Patreon every month. I'm trying to get about 2 done, so like a mini episode of like an essay or some kind of like topic that's I'm really passionate about, and then also something a little bit smaller, maybe like an update of what's happened, or like behind the scenes kind of thing. Or whenever I release a video, you get access early and it's ad-free, which is a really nice perk for supporting me on a monthly basis. So if that's your type of thing, please check out my Patreon, and I've got the link below. Otherwise, if you haven't subscribed already, please do, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And you can also follow me on my socials, where I'm going to, again, try to remember to post slightly more frequently on Instagram. It's one of those things when I have no energy, everything falls apart. So I'm usually doing lots of different crafty things. I just forget, oh, I should have taken a photo when I was in the middle of doing that, or oh, I should have done it when we had better lighting, because doing it during the day is better than doing it with the horrible orange lights that we have here. So yeah, follow the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I will still call it Twitter. And then yeah, hopefully we'll make from April going forward the best 2024 we could possibly have. And hopefully you'll be along there with me. Thanks for watching.